Hey everyone, me Kevin here. A new bipartisan group of senators have just announced a new stimulus package with a price tag of $908 billion. We'll hit the details of exactly what's inside. This is a much-awaited step in stimulus negotiations, as we know that Republicans refused the HEROES Act, and anything close to the HEROES Act would look like a loss for Republicans in the Georgia 5th runoff election coming up, and anything close to a $500 billion skinny package would look like a loss for Democrats. Let's see if you think this stimulus package is a win or a loss overall. Speaking of Democrats, Republicans today, by the way, are decrying that Democrats in the House are voting on a bill that bans the ownership of lions and tigers and another bill that legalizes marijuana, while they suggest that we should be focused on having stimulus negotiations. In other words, the same classic divisiveness going into us revealing this new stimulus package is still present. Quick reminder, Webull is killing the for free stock promotion in the link down below. So if you have not yet, go down below, deposit $100 with Webull and get 4 free stocks. The new proposal on stimulus was introduced by Senator Joe Manchin. This is from the bipartisan group we heard about yesterday with Mitt Romney, Dick Durbin, and others. Senator Manchin says that it is inexcusable for us to leave town and not come to an agreement. He says we can and must work together in a bipartisan way, that the framework for a COVID-19 relief package will help small businesses, state and local governments, and hardworking Americans if we follow this plan. He says that it's time to come together. Well, let's see if we can come together on this package. Here we go. $288 billion for small business aid. This would likely be an extended PPP round, potentially EIDL grants as well. Right now, we only have an outline. We do not have the full text yet. $180 billion for an unemployment boost. Given this budget, this is likely close to $300, maybe for 3 to 4 months. We'll see when more details come in. $180 billion for state and local government and tribal support. This is a far cry from the $300 billion that Steve Mnuchin and Mark Meadows were willing to send to state and local governments, saying that state and local governments have at least $275 billion in expenses that should be reimbursed. This is nearly half of that, and it's a further step away from Democrats in the House who have passed a bill that includes $417 billion for state and local governments. $82 billion for education, substantially further away from the $224 billion that Democrats won in the House, and it's even smaller than the $105 billion that Mitch McConnell proposed in his skinny bill package. $45 billion for transportation, $26 billion for nutrition aid, $25 billion for rental assistance. It's very good that we have rental assistance in here. At least that is a benefit in helping ideally prevent or offset the eviction crisis. $16 billion for vaccine development, testing, tracing, and distribution. $12 billion for lending support. $10 billion to the post office. $10 billion for childcare. $5 billion for opioid treatment. $4 billion for student loans. And guess what else? A big fat zero for stimulus checks. No stimulus checks. This is the bipartisan package that after 4 months of nothingness, Congress introduces to us. Remember yesterday, Mitch McConnell threw cold water on the idea of anything larger than $500 billion, saying that Democrats have lost leverage after the election. He did suggest, though, that we should start with his $500 billion skinny bill and add to that, the skinny bill also did not include stimulus checks. In reaction to this, multiple congressmen and women have already stated that this new bill, or any new bill, should quite frankly come from Nancy Pelosi or Mitch McConnell. It should come down from the leadership. There is still a lot of divisiveness between Pelosi and McConnell, though. Nothing's gotten better between the two. So it seems like anything Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell touch just ends up dying. So a bipartisan plan coming from the middle seems like something that's much more likely to pass. Yet, I do believe a lot of Democrats will not be happy with a $908 billion stimulus package. However, we'll see. There are some Democrats in this bipartisan group. Senator John Thune, the third-ranking member in the Senate and a Republican who is not part of this bipartisan group, said that, quote, elements are there for a deal. It's just whether the will is there as well. He said, quote, one issue is they consistently want to add more money for state and local governments, and that's a big non-starter with a lot of our members. This is likely John Thune referring to the 20 group of Republicans, or 20-person group of Republicans in the Senate, that do not want to provide a single dime of extra funding for state and local governments. This comes as the DC metro area is considering shutting down their metro system on weekends and substantially cutting service within the city during weekdays. State and local governments desperately need help, but apparently the will to provide proper support to Americans isn't really anywhere to be found in Congress. This is the latest, and honestly, all I could say right now is make sure you get your life insurance in as little as 5 minutes, because this seems ridiculous. Link is down below, and I'm not very happy about it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below.